Hey friends, it is day 145 of Russia's invasion into Ukraine, and you're still here. Thank you for continuing to care, continuing to pray, continue to share and to comment and to raise awareness, but also raise up prayer for Ukraine. It's making a difference. And so some of you have been asking, where are you? One, we've got a lot of things going on. Two, we're sometimes on slow days, we're waiting to see if there is things for you to know about. And when you don't hear from us, stay the course. If there's something you need to know, we'll definitely get it to you. But there's some good things. There's real movement by the Ukrainian forces in Kherson. There were several major hits to a military base in Berezova, 10 kilometers north of the dam at Novokhovka. And that's one of the two ways across the Dnieper there in Kherson. And the Ukrainians are moving forward. They're making progress, real progress. In other worlds, there's real progress on the grain negotiations. And I'm going to get to that in a minute because there's a big prayer point that's coming. I want to share with you, but there are again and again, what we're seeing is the Russians are firing, but they're not firing as much as they had. They're not using as much artillery. Russian artillery men are not wanting to fire because what happens is the Russians are shooting in the dark. They're shooting aimlessly. When they shoot, all they're doing is telling the Ukrainians where they are, and they're terrified of being hit back. We've seen the delivery of British, I think there were 4 British M270s. That's another kind of HIMARS system, but this one is more armored. It's actually a towed system, right, like a trailer, and it has instead of doing 6, it can shoot 12 missiles. So man, it's just continuing to ramp up this artillery that's so powerful, able to stop Russians in their tracks. You're not seeing as many ammunition dumps blowing up because there aren't any. And the reality is the Russians are having to move their supplies further and further away, up to 100+ kilometers from the front, and then drive them in by truck. Well, that means they were counting on trucks being able to make multiple deliveries a day. Now they can maybe do 1 delivery a day. They just don't have trucks, and they don't have truck drivers. And so you're seeing this massive slowdown happening, and the fundamental inability of Russia to move forward, let alone really intimidate the Ukrainians, but also even hold the line, as we're seeing in Kherson. And this is incredible. This is what we've been praying for. The reality is, to date, they still haven't taken all of Lugansk. There's 2 areas, but 2 small areas of Lugansk that they still haven't taken. So they're not even being given that propaganda victory. And the result is they've actually now got data that it looks like Putin's popularity and the popularity of the war is dropping. Now, what's stunning about this is traditionally 100% of the time when there is a war, the party in power's popularity goes up. But that's if they're winning, if they keep winning, if they're keep moving forward, if they're able to deliver results. If they are, then people are like, hey, I have no problem sacrificing for the sake of the common good. But they're starting to see, wait a minute, and that drop is very significant. Small right now, but it's huge, because what you're going to see is the financial effect on day-to-day Russians is starting to hit. And it's going to hit big come September. As one commentator said, all the numbers don't mean much, but when you don't have a job to go to and you don't have food in the cupboard, then you start listening. And so it doesn't matter what the big man says, I'm not happy, right? And so one of the things that's happening is you're seeing a massive shift. The reason why they're even talking about they're talking about doing grain negotiation about grain. Is Russia is losing all its trump cards. So I talked to you a couple days ago about the fact that Iran is undercutting Russia, and now Chinese and Indian purchases of oil have dropped by 75%. So we've prayed for the snake to turn itself. Well, on top of that, with U.S. President Biden meeting with MBD or MBS, the head of Saudi Arabia, what's happening is Russia's realizing that if OPEC opens the tap, they're going to drop the cost of oil, and it's going to make it, they're not going to be able to operate. They're not be able to hold the world hostage. So then on top of that, with the grain, Ukraine has created a runaround system. We talked about this by opening up the canals that connect Ukraine with the Danube in Romania, allowing them to get it to wheat to Romanian harbors in NATO territory, offload. They're able to ship the grain out anyway. Through, and those Romanian ships never even have to go through international waters in order to deliver them. They're never in danger from Russia. And on top of that, with the loss of Snake Island, Russia can't threaten anybody anyway. So he's losing every single one of his trump cards, and he's starting to lose at home. There's no forward momentum. There's no, they're doing secret mobilization, maybe up to 50,000 people, but it's going to be the bums. It's going to be the homeless. It's going to be the alcoholics. It's going to be people have no options. And so and they're not going to get adequate military training. So he can't win. So right now, the out that Russia is looking for is North and South Korea. That's the out. The out is, let us keep what we took and everything will be fine. That's not an option. But actually, when I say North-South Korea, they're still technically at war. They're actually in a ceasefire. Russia just wants a ceasefire. They don't want, they want a ceasefire so that Europe will say, hey, it's peace in our time, everything's fine, everybody go about your business, we can get our economies back. And the reality is, Western leaders, by and large, that's what they want. Apart from Boris Johnson taking a stand early, they simply want to protect their economies at all costs. And because they recognize that's where that's just what they want. They want a lot of those. There's financial reasons, there's wealth reasons, but at the end of the day, it has been the people of Germany, the people of France, that are rising up saying, we demand you to stand with Ukraine, and it's forced these governments. And so these governments don't want to back Ukraine in that way. They've been kind of forced. They've been forced by the moral high ground that Ukraine with Zelensky has taken, and their people are demanding. And so they would love a ceasefire. They would love a ceasefire. This is insanely expensive, both to the economies and in terms of military hardware. The EU foreign ministers just approved another $500 million military aid package for Ukraine, and they would love nothing better than for a ceasefire. Now, you could say, well, what's wrong with a ceasefire? Who wants war? War is evil. We've said this before, and we're so thankful that it keeps coming out. Russian occupation is as bad as war. It is abuse, domination, control, rape, atrocities to 11. And that's why the world has got to understand that it's not about stopping the guns. It's about stopping the guy who's shooting the guns, Putin. It's about literally that he will take a little bit. He's like the old Arabian parable of the camel who just, let me have my nose in, let me have a little bit more. Eventually the camel pushes the man out of the tent. that's what he does. He took Crimea, then he took Donbass. Now he's taking the rest of Donbass. He's taking Kherson. He's taking Kharkov. He's like, oh, just let me keep what I've got. And in fact, they are rushing. What do you call them? Bunkers to create gun nests where they can build this cold border already. They're rushing pillboxes to the front to be able to do this, and so they are. This is big. This is big. The pressure you're going to see coming from Putin is meeting with Erdogan's, Turkey's president in Iran this week. They're going to come up with a plan. They're pushing hard, as is UN Secretary General Guterres. They're going to be pushing hard on Ukraine to negotiate a ceasefire. Basically, because what happens is, if a ceasefire happens, all support for Ukraine leaves. They'll just go, hey, you're good. And that is not okay. That, at the very minimum, this is Sudetenland, but it's so much more than that. So let us just pray that the West continues to hold, because Kuleba has done an amazing job of declaring that there is no way we can have a ceasefire as long as Russia is occupying any ground. And so we have got to stand, and so pray that the world stands, that they stand, absolutely refuse to give an inch to Putin, that they refuse every pressure. And Europe has said they will not pressure them, but they can quietly pressure while they're overtly standing with Ukraine. So pray for that. That's a big thing. Final thing, pray for the church, man. One of the cool things friends Lily and Vladimir and the Church Blagovies are doing in Ukraine is they have gotten a hold of a lot of tarps and plastic, and they're covering roofs and windows where the bombs have hit and where glass have been taken out, trying to protect. And it's huge. You guys have made that happen. They've developed the infrastructure to make that happen, the logistic systems, because of the gifts you've given. Thank you. You can always give. Go to ariselife.org/help Ukraine, and we've been able to send together over $200,000, and that's all the money you've given. And so we're so grateful. Thank you. Continue to pray for them and to stand with them. And as always, you can see all of the stuff they're posting. If you go to that page, ariselife.org/help Ukraine, you can see their Facebook page. And so, but thank you guys again. We're going to be jumping on as we have information to share. If we don't, stay the course with what we've shared. If there's something you need to know, we'll jump on and definitely let you know it. It's just with the slow times, we're just waiting for things to happen. So love you all. Have an amazing day.